Okay, welcome everyone to another edition of Drunk Agile. This is a shameful pattern for us, Prateek. This is another kind of dry one for us. We're
it is.
Unfortunately doing this a little bit earlier in the day, so that's why we don't have any drinks in front of us. So I hope our audience will forgive us. I promise we'll be back to our drinking shenanigans as quickly as possible. As excited as always, just jumping out of her skin to be here. Star of the show, Nisha. Hi, Nisha. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to come.
Not even eyes are open today.
Yeah. Of course, we have my friend and colleague Prateek Singh, and a special edition of Drunk Agile because we have a guest who's it's painfully overdue. We have José Casal on here. José, we should have had you on here many months ago. So thank you for joining.
Thank you for inviting me, guys. It's a real pleasure. I'm in Finland. It's quite late. It's whiskey time for me.
What is? Yeah. So you can show us up. You can start drinking. That's fine. Doesn't bother us any.
For the audiences, I'm not going to pretend to know whiskey like this too, because I don't know whether they're telling the truth or not. But I thought I'm in Finland, and I'm going to do something. This is Finnish whiskey. And it's actually spelled properly. It says whiskey.
Well, then we can drink it. Then we can drink it.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So, single cask, apparently, mulled rye. They got the rye thing in the malt. It was good. So I might have a little drink.
Go for it, please. Of course.
And for me, it's like whiskey is whiskey. So I don't know. Don't ask me about the connotations of the whiskey. I'll have some.
We'll edit that out.
The only connotation, or sorry, the only restriction we're going to put on this is that you have to save some for us for when we go to Finland to visit you. That's it. So.
That's the deal.
While Jose pours, Prateek, you tweeted something. Was it last week? A couple days ago? I don't know.
Yeah, it was probably a couple of days ago. And I've been rereading the goal, and
sorry,
now
I'm really sorry about that. Really sorry.
Now I'm at this point, I'm at the theory of constraints part, and I have something opposite to tweet from what I tweeted before. But I was at the part where where they're talking about efficiencies in the plant and how it relates to overall productivity and everything. And it got me thinking about OKRs and how department level goals set by OKRs can be suboptimal to the overall system, to the company's overall goals. And that started a bit of discussion on Twitter. So yeah, Jose caught on to that. So he has some ideas.
Yeah, Jose, as our guest, you get first shot at this. Let's what do you think about the whole OKR thing? And tell us.
Yes, I always got the worry that this is how long do we have? How many days?
Should I sit down? I don't know. Maybe I should sit down.
So no, OKRs. Okay, we know how popular OKRs are. I think that many times I'm gonna be careful about my words. Very, very powerful idea, very useful, but as many other things, they can be used or abused. So when, in particular for me, my own understanding of OKRs, the powerful tool to talk about strategic alignment, to guide people, to provide goals and things like that. But then suddenly you start seeing things like personal OKRs, team level OKRs, and I don't know. It just horrifies me. I've done work with companies where, for example, in order to plan the OKRs for the next quarter, they will spend 3 months talking about the OKRs of the next quarter, and you're thinking like, that is not really working, isn't it? That is just an exercise that I would question doesn't generate much value. And if people could actually focus on something more valuable, more productive, more effective, might be better. So yeah, OKRs as a tool, I like them for strategic conversations. And there is something really powerful for me about OKRs and flow. But yes, please don't take it too far down to the department, the team, or the individual. Your thoughts? I've been polite. I'm gonna drink on that.
No, Prateek, you go.
Yeah, I think I completely agree, and it's one of those things where I think OKRs are great for setting up strategic goals, and the KR part of it is really cool because you can actually see, hey, am I meeting these goals? There's some metrics attached to it. The thing that becomes more interesting, even at that level for me, is we're setting up a long-running experiment, and that is that always, for everything we talk about, WIP, aging, cycle time, it's about small experiments, and setting up these long-running experiments is always dangerous. And you talked about quarterly OKRs. It's like 90 days is a long time to run an experiment. How do we figure out how those experiments can be smaller? And I think people's inclination is to make the experiment smaller by making lower level OKRs. Meanwhile, that I think is the anti-pattern. Instead of that, let's just make smaller OKRs which last for maximum a month, and then let's reevaluate it after that. Dan?
I mean, I'll be honest. I don't have much to add to this conversation, just because I've never used OKRs. I've never really come across them. I will say I'm very, very skeptical of them. I don't see how they can be useful at all. I mean, obviously, as a company, you need to have a strategy, you need to have a vision, you need to have all this other stuff. The actual OKR piece, I don't know, doesn't resonate with me. It doesn't. And I believe somebody out there on the interwebs is going to have to correct me, but I believe Deming came out very strongly against OKRs too. And generally speaking, if Deming's against something, that's usually enough to sway me. So, like I said, in terms of practical experience with OKRs, that's why I'm hesitant to say anything. It's just, as a philosophy, as a tool, I'm very, very, very skeptical.
OKRs or not, what I think none of us can argue is that companies need to have some sort of a strategy. Yeah, I think sometimes the problem with the OKRs as well is that someone formulates an OKR and that becomes an immutable object that is. What about the feedback loops that might tell you like, hey, you didn't get it, like, you didn't get it right, maybe by a little bit, maybe by a lot. So that's the other thing, is like we formulate OKRs, or we formulate some sort of a strategy and all the stuff, and then it's kind of like, okay, you need to comply to this strategy. We are obsessed with certainty. We are obsessed with seeking this kind of like wrong predictability. Rather than just say, okay, this is just a guideline. Get the results, get the feedback loops, get the learning, and then adapt. So it should be something living. You're going to use a tool like that. Please, at least use it appropriately. You're working in complex environments. Learn from what the data is telling you. Have data, for God's sake.
Are there any Agile frameworks or methodologies or anything anywhere that OKRs are an explicit part of? I don't
know. I don't know if that's. I think everything is in SAFe, so it must be.
It's right there on the diagram. Where's Waldo?
I will say something, and this is something where for me, I am curious about OKRs. Okay, a strategy. A strategy is, I'm not going to call myself an expert in strategy. This is like dark arts. When whoever knows how to do it, I've got a lot of respect. Companies need to formulate some sort of like guidance, some sort of like ideas about like, what's the journey for all of us? When you're trying to get organizations which are like not just a bunch of 9 people working together, you've got like 9,000 people together. Okay, how do we get this engine working more or less in alignment? So OKRs can be a tool, but you have other things. You have like a strategy deployment, you might have like EVM, you might have like Canries, whatever it is, something that gives us guidance. Yeah. What is interesting for me about this thing is that when they can be a great tool, if you convert that OKR energy into flow. Because many times when we look at teams, we look at departments, we look at things like that, we look at flow as in almost like, hey, you have almost like a river, yeah? But it would be really interesting sometimes to say, okay, where does the river come from? Where is the spring of this river? How does water actually, to use the metaphor more about flow, yeah? Where is the source of all these ideas? And OKRs can be a good thing for that, or a tool like OKRs. But OKRs that can decompose as theoretical exercises, I think is wasteful. If you can generate action, if you can generate flow, if it's something that creates work items that you can put through some sort of like, how do we work together? How do we coordinate ourselves? How do we handle dependencies? All right, that becomes interesting. But now we're in flow. We're no longer in OKRs. That's where I'm curious about, like all these tools as generators of flow.
Yeah, I totally agree with it. One, it's a strategy thing, right? So you could easily kind of go, our strategy is going to be as efficient with flow as possible and use that to drive this thing. But at the same, because usually what I see happening is you take this thing of our strategy is to increase customer engagement from 20% to 60%. Cool. Now a team will take that and go, oh, by delivering feature A, we're going to do this. By delivering feature B, we're going to do this. And that'll help that go. That is where it becomes really weird for me, because now we're optimizing for something that we're optimizing for delivering a feature as opposed to optimizing for our strategic, learning and strategic goals.
And I'm going to sound like a broken record, one trick pony, whatever you want to say. But I think that's where the Deming quote comes in. He's like, you give people that type of objective, and they will meet that objective, even if they have to destroy the organization to do it, right?
Yeah.
So that's.
And there might be dragons if you are doing that and you're not looking at it collectively. You got departments which are sales department. Okay, we're going to meet this objective, by increasing sales. And you have an IT department said we're going to meet the same objective by improving quality. Those two might actually become a total clash. Sell more, and the other one is like, oh, go slower because we want to do things better. And you end up having an organization that is literally fighting with each other within the organization. So yes, I mean, we need to do better. We need to do something like that. And the thing for me about the generating flow is not generating flow about like improving the process and things like that. It's generating flow about delivering something that the customer, the user actually is going to benefit from. Product, services, whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, you just got me thinking, like, if we had to come up with an OKR for Drunk Agile, I mean, what would that look like?
Be only semi-drunk by the end of the podcast.
Yeah, right. But, so
what will benefit the customers?
Yeah, exactly. And who are really the customers of Drunk Agile? I think this is more for me and Prateek than anybody else initially, of course. I guess so.
Put her to sleep. That's what it is for. It's to put Nisha to sleep.
Wait, I'm hoping this conversation, anybody who's watching, if you're still watching, I hope this is generating some questions for you. As always, we'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. OKRs, good or bad? OKRs with flow, good or bad? What do you think? But before we sign off totally, Jose, there's one other topic I think we need to cover, just very quickly, just to make sure that all of our listeners know about what's going on in the flow world. Would you like to say a little bit about that?
I'm guessing that we're talking about the pandemic is not gone yet, but with all the safety, all the precautions that we can, we are gonna be, after a 2-year hiatus, we are gonna be having hopefully one of those special conferences that we have out there in person, where we can actually see people in 3D, and feel. Be careful about the feeling, but but feel each other, be relatively near to each other and exchange. After 2 years, we're going to have in late May, 23rd, 24th of May, we're going to have Lean Agile London once again. It's part of the Lean Agile conference family of conferences. So we had Lean Agile US, which hopefully will come back at some point as well. Lean Agile Brighton, Lean Agile London. So yeah, we are going to converge in London for a couple of days next to the River Thames. Lovely part of London with great talks. I mean, some awesome speakers from all over the world, plus Dan and Prateek.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, we bring the batting average down. Hopefully someday we will be able to bring back Lean Agile US. Right now, Florida is just dripping with COVID, so we need to need to ring it out a little bit and get it back, and then we'll see. But please, anybody who's listening, Lean Agile London, it's one of those conferences that I personally always make time for. It's one of my favorite spots on the calendar. It was sad that for the past 2 years we hadn't been able to do it, in person, but this year it's looking very promising. So hope to see you all
hopefully there. Late May in London is a great season, good weather. It will probably rain for 2 days, but yeah, we're gonna have an amazing venue with lots of space in the area of London Bridge as well. So it's lovely to be out there and visit the city.
That's true. We can go put Prateek in the tower. Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
It's very close to the tower. So hey, Prateek, we may leave that there for a while. Yeah.
Hey, you mentioned the river earlier, so that's where I'm putting down.
By the way, for the 3 or 4 people still watching this, we're gonna put some sort of coffee or collection. If you want us to do something to learn about Dan in the future, we'll take donations and we'll prepare something.
So with that, your homework. Everybody that's still watching. You have two bits of homework. Number one, send us your questions about OKR. We really just started the conversation, really just scratched the surface here. We'd love to hear what you think and what questions you have, and we can have Jose back on to address some of those questions and comments about OKRs. But probably even more importantly than that, go check out Lean Agile London and what's happening in May of this year. 2022 now?
2022, we made it.
2024.
Who knew?
Yes. Come to the website. It's very simple. It's leanagile.london.
Leanagile.london. That's it. Beautiful. Jose, thank you so much for being with us and taking time out to come record a Drunk Agile episode. We pretty much have to invite Prateek because we want Nisha here. So Nisha, thank you very much for coming. But most importantly,
I don't know if you all noticed, her legs were moving a little bit.
She was running. She was Most importantly, though, thanks to all of you for watching. Appreciate you joining us for this episode, and we will see you in the next video. See you next time, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Yes.